Look around you. Everywhere, people smiling when they don't mean it, nodding when they disagree, living lives that look perfect on Instagram but feel empty inside. Why? Because most of us are trapped in the oldest psychological prison in human history, the need to be liked. And here's the truth. If you don't learn how to break free, you'll live a life that doesn't belong to you. Stay until the end, because what I'm about to tell you could change how you see yourself and everyone around you forever. Why do we care so much about judgment? Why does one negative comment online feel like a knife to the chest? The answer isn't modern. It's prehistoric. Tens of thousands of years ago, you couldn't survive alone. No supermarkets, no walls, no police. You needed the tribe. You hunted together, built shelter together, defended each other from predators. So what happened if you were rejected? If the group cast you out? It was a death sentence. Exile meant starvation, exposure, or being torn apart by wild animals. Your brain evolved with one core command: don't be disliked, ever. And here's the shocking part. That programming never left. Neuroscientists discovered that social rejection activates the same regions of the brain as physical pain. Your brain doesn't just feel bad when you're excluded. It literally experiences rejection as if you've been injured. That's why cancel culture feels like execution. That's why a bad comment on your TikTok burns more than it should. Your nervous system thinks you're fighting for your life. Here's where it gets darker. Social media didn't create your fear of judgment, it hacked it. The like button? The dislike counter? The follower number? They're not innocent features. They are weapons designed to exploit ancient survival wiring. Each notification is a tiny shot of dopamine, the same neurotransmitter that fuels addiction. The average person now checks their phone 96 times per day. And each ding triggers the same brain circuitry as a slot machine in a casino. That's why you can't stop scrolling. You're not just bored. You're addicted to microvalidation. But here's the sinister twist. The more you chase likes, the less authentic you become. You don't post what you believe, you post what you know will perform. You don't say what's true, you say what will be approved. You don't live for yourself, you live for the algorithm. That's not freedom. That's slavery. Maybe you think, I fake sometimes, but deep down I know who I am. Do you? Psychologists call this surface acting, when you fake emotions to get through situations. A forced smile for your boss. Fake enthusiasm on a date. Pretending outrage online just to fit in. Here's the terrifying part. Surface acting doesn't stay on the surface. Studies show chronic surface acting causes emotional dissonance, a fracture between your true feelings and the ones you show. Over time, that fracture rewires your brain. You stop knowing what's authentic. The mask fuses to the face. That's why so many people today feel hollow. Not because they're lying, but because they've forgotten how to be real. But wait, maybe some judgment is useful. Isn't gossip bad? Not always. A Stanford study by Rob Willer found that gossip and ostracism actually helped groups survive. When group members were allowed to gossip and exclude freeloaders, cooperation went up. When gossip was banned, selfishness spread. So yes, some judgment keeps society functioning. But here's the danger. What used to protect us from freeloaders now polices authenticity. It's not enough to follow the rules. You must perform the right persona. In prehistoric tribes, rejection meant physical death. Today, rejection means social death. Losing followers. Losing reputation. Losing status. and your brain can't tell the difference. That's why a bad reputation online feels unbearable. Here's the most dangerous trap, basing your entire life on seeking approval. Psychologists Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga wrote in The Courage to be Disliked, "Unhappiness is a strategy. People stay anxious, angry, or even miserable because it serves hidden goals. Anger controls others. Anxiety avoids risk. Unhappiness itself can be a tool, a way of saying, if only I weren't stuck, I'd be successful. But the deadliest strategy is this: living for validation. Because when your goal is approval, you stop living for yourself. Praise is just another form of control. If your worth depends on being liked, you'll twist yourself into whatever shape people demand. You become a puppet, and the strings are other people's opinions. Here's a shocking insight from Alfred Adler. Most of your suffering comes from vertical relationships. That unconscious ranking system where you put some people above you and others below. The successful boss who makes you feel small. The influencer you envy on Instagram. The colleague you secretly look down on. This invisible ladder creates two prisons. If you feel inferior, you're crushed by envy. If you feel superior, you live terrified of falling. In both cases, you're trapped. But what if the ladder doesn't exist? What if every relationship was horizontal, equal worth simply because we exist? Think about this: a newborn baby and an elderly man with dementia. Neither is productive in society's eyes, but both are undeniably valuable. Worth is not output. Worth is existence. The moment you understand this, the hierarchy in your head collapses. And with it, your suffering. Here's the paradox. The more you chase approval, the more disliked you become. The more authentic you are, the more magnetic you become. People respect the rare individual who refuses to wear a mask. Because in a world of actors, the real one shines like fire in the dark. In evolutionary psychology, humans trust consistency more than charm. Someone authentic, even when unpopular, is perceived as more reliable for survival. That's why authenticity attracts allies faster than fakery ever will. So if not approval, what should we live for? Adler gave the answer: contribution. True happiness isn't in being liked, it's in being useful. Brain scans show that helping others activates the ventral striatum, the same reward center triggered by money or pleasure. Except contribution creates deeper, longer-lasting satisfaction. And here's the kicker: contribution dissolves the mask. When you focus on giving, you stop obsessing over how you look. Contribution is authenticity in action. Now pause. Ask yourself, what's one thing you're not doing because you're afraid of what people will think? Is it quitting that job? Starting a YouTube channel? Telling someone you love them? Comment it below, because I guarantee someone else watching feels exactly the same. Here's the most important truth: you will be disliked. No matter what you do. It's inevitable. But the question is, will you be disliked for being fake or for being free? The moment you stop chasing approval, you become untouchable. Because the chains of judgment were never real. They only existed in your mind. That's the courage Adler talked about. The courage to be disliked. And that's the ultimate freedom. If this video shattered something inside you, don't stop here. Subscribe. Because the next video will expose even darker truths about psychology, neuroscience, and the hidden machinery of society. The kind of truths that once you see, you can never unsee.